Hello everybody and welcome to my next playthrough of the Metroid Prime series. Alright, and I'm going to be doing this series a little bit differently. I'm going to divide this whole video into 3 sections. First up is the actual gameplay of the whole Metroid series, in case you guys wanted to see it. The second section is going to be a nice little lore recap of everything we found within the game, including stuff I found in the manual as well. And the third section is just going to be a section of the art gallery and seeing what kind of secrets we can find in there. But with that out of the way, let's get started to Metroid Prime. And I'm going to be playing this on hard mode because, as you can see, I played did a playthrough of this already. And I gotta say, this game is actually really fun. It's also so interesting on where they take it. Because after an emergency transmission from the station here, we see Samus in her iconic gunship here, and we can see a very, very important addition has been added to her skill set, is that her suit has like an important visor to it, so where she can see the world in so many different ways, which is really cool. And in order to 100% this game, you actually have to do some very important scans around the world. Pretty much you just have to scan every creature, every important data log, and the way you know which data log is important or what's important around is by if it has this little red mark on it. If it has a red mark on it, that means it's very important to 100% in the game, and if not, it just tells you little tidbits about the world we're in. But with that little thing out of the way, let's continue on into the space station. And right away, we can see like a huge disaster just undertook here. Like we can literally see a huge dead parasite right over here, next to some dead space pirates. So clearly, there's been a raid or something that's happened to this, and it looks like the space station was doing experiments on these parasites, kind of thing. It's very, very interesting. What's also very interesting about this game is how much they include Samus's old loot stuff and they gave to you right in the beginning. Already you could be shooting missiles, do a charge beam, you have the grapple beam already, morph ball bombs. Like Samus is pretty well equipped to enter this place already. Which really does make you think like what happens between each missions to make her lose or gain different abilities, you know? Because in the beginning of almost every Metroid game, she never keeps any of the old suits that we find in there. Because we know we find not only the Avaria suit, but we find some gravity suits as well in a lot of games too, but she never seems to have those. So is it possible that canonically she never actually picked up those suits in the game? Or is it that she just keeps them in storage and uses them later? Because we do know in Metroid Fusion that she can download and relearn every kind of move in the game by system computers, so she doesn't have to find them all. But with that little rant out of the way, we come over here and we can actually see our very first piece of lore here that tells us about space pirates. But like I said, I won't be reading that lore within this aspect right here, because I'm going to save all that at the lore section over there, where we go through every single important scan and lore tidbit here. But I will be trying to show you where everything is, just in case if you guys want to see where it is. But we come up here and we can see like some surviving pirates here. And what's actually really cool is that if you scan them, you can see like they're not at full strength. Like a lot of them are really critically damaged, which means we're coming here right after they had like a huge fight. Again, it's really cool world building they do in this game. Like, it's so unbelievably good that I can't believe like no one ever talks about this series. Oh yeah, and that's also another really fun addition they put into this game. So when you charging up your charge beam, you can actually draw collectible items towards you. That makes it so nice. But after a little bit of massacre, we come over here and we see this very important character here, Parasite Queen. Now you may recognize this creature from the very hit games Smash Brothers and Brawl, because this is where the stage Frigate Orpheon is from. Now, I find that very interesting because it kind of implies that it's either right after this event she decides to go into Smash Bros. Brawl, because after defeating Parasite Queen here, you'll see that once we make it to the end, we see not only Meta Ridley here was the cause of all this, but we also see that Samus can take critical damage to her suit, which causes the suit to malfunction, thus making her lose a lot of her weapons. Which could explain why in every beginning of Metroid game, she doesn't have everything fully equipped. It's because of she took some critical battle damage on a previous mission, or a mission we haven't seen in the middle of it. And so with the next time we see her, she's wearing a critically damaged suit. Again, such interesting ways you can perceive this. Oh yeah, and I probably should have said this a little bit. But yeah, definitely make sure you scan those little parasites as well as the Parasite Queen up there, because those two scans are required for 100%ing this whole game, and this is your one shot of getting them. So definitely make sure you scan those, guys. And as well as getting that one pirate data info. So pretty much there's like 3 things that you need to scan here. Well, anyways, after escaping that blast, we see Meta Ridley escaping to a nearby planet. The planet is known as Talon 4. But we managed to evade us, so we must do some ground-based operations in order to try to track him down. Thus, the beginning of Metroid Prime starts, where we're in our very classic suit with only a little blaster. And before you get too ahead, make sure you scan your vehicle, the gunship, because that is an important lore thing. And there's some weeds nearby that you must scan. Apparently these weeds count as a creature, and they are important for 100%ing. Again, the only thing I would say that's slightly wrong with this game is just the 100%ing it, just because some things to 100% it are just so arbitrary, I feel like, while others definitely do not. Anyway, after blasting off these creatures, we make it over here. You find this weird little circle thing here. And this is an important lore tidbit that tells us exactly our end goal here. Pretty much what we have to do here is try to find artifacts of this ancient world that we're on. And what ancient world civilization was here? None other than the Chozo clan. And if that name doesn't sound important, well, get ready to hear a whole lot about the Chozo in the Chozo section of this video. And already, after scanning all the local creatures here, we make our way to this elevator over here, and we move it onto the ruins here. Now, what's great about this game is that how good it scales and makes everything feel so interesting. Like all the music is really good and immersive. The way you find everything is so good and immersive. Like, it really feels like a really well put together 3D Metroid game. Like, it's unbelievable how good this game is, and nobody ever talks about it. Alright, and after making past these parasites and these eye turrets, we make it to this wall over here, and we find another very important thing for 100% in the game. As if you see a wall shimmering like this, scan it, because that's an important piece of Chozo lore. And like I said, I won't be reading it here. Go to the Chozo section of the video if you want to hear about it. But yeah, these guys are important for 100%ing, because it gives you a pretty interesting backstory about the civilization that was here, as well as what happens to them. And after quickly saving the game in the station right above you, you make it through this waterway, destroy all these light bugs, and we make it to our first boss fight, which is like a weird insect turret. And there are 2 important things you need to scan here. The very first thing you need to scan are these wasp-like creatures that exit out of these guys. And you also need to scan the underside of the base of this. Because if you just scan it when its mouth is open, that does not count. Which I found out was very devastating, which caused me to replay this game already. You actually have to scan it, the underwater part of it, which I find very stupid. And after doing some research, apparently in other versions, or not other versions, in other regions of this game, they actually have it to where you just scan the top of it and it counts for the creature data, but not here in the USA. In the USA, you have to scan the underside of it, which I found was super dumb. Well, anyways, after doing the boss fight and scanning that little part again, we are now fully prepared to grab our next upgrade, which is the missile launcher. And missiles are going to be the main collectibles in this game, and they are what tracks you whether or not you have 100% of your suit upgrades, or I should say like the 100% on the title screen there, because as soon as you get 100% of all the upgrades on the suit, it actually tells you. That's another good thing I found out about this game later on, is that it actually tells you once you max out on everything, which is really nice. And they even give you a little reward for doing that. And after blasting that door over here, we make our way to our very first energy tank. Really neat. And as you can see, there's a small hole in this room, but since we don't have the morph ball yet, we have to go find it and then come back to it. So we have to exit back out, and a pillar will drop, allowing us to go backtrack to where we can go. And now that we have missiles, we can actually go to all the locked doors here that have missiles. Like this one right here. In here we can get a nice little map. So now we can see all the rooms of the place. However, though, they won't tell you the names of the places. But that's alright. As long as you know there's a room there, you should be fine. But before you make it too far away, scan that wall over there. You see it's brittle. But if you see that, just blast it with a missile, and behind it we get our very first missile upgrades. We can now hold 5 more missiles. Right, and after blasting the door on the lowest level in this main plaza area, you want to come over here and you'll be subjected to a nice little fighting arena against all these little scarabs. And after defeating a good number of them, the mother scarab comes in with a giant plated armor. And this is a repeatable mini-boss, I would say. Not even a mini-boss. This is a repeatable enemy that happens, so if you miss a scan, don't worry. You can re-encounter this thing later on. And after blasting it in the ass, you can actually come over here, and you see, we get the morph ball power-up. We can now roll into a little ball now. Perfect. And yeah, like I said, this game is actually really good with how it approaches the way you approach each different room, because you can see like so many different paths that you can take, so many different areas you want to try out, but if you don't have the right upgrade, you cannot. And it's after going through the right one of the ways, acquiring a new power-up allows you to go to the other one, that really gives you a sense of, wow, you're really getting more powerful and stronger. So good. And after using your morph ball to come into this weird fountain area, there's a piece of Chozo lore right behind that fountain, so don't miss that. And after acquiring that, you can come right over here, where you'll see a giant tree in the middle, and with tentacles coming out of the wall. You want to go behind that tree, and don't try to climb it yet. There's more things you want to go forward for first. Right, and if you go forward and you go to the right, you'll see a nice blast door over there, and you should definitely save. I always recommend saving as much as you can, just because, well, in me personally, I had the game crash on me one time, so now I just kind of save as much as I can, so that way I don't miss out on any missile packs or upgrades that I may have missed, like this missile pack right here. It just so happens to be right there. Alright, and after coming into this room in here, what you want to find is these little runes symbols on the ground here. These are very interesting because you have to scan them, which activates a door at the end. And I'm not sure the science behind this, because that's another thing that I found super interesting about this, just how much like this game interfuses like really high-tech sci-fi stuff with like natural urbanism and ruined stuff. It's like it matches it really well. Anyway, after getting all 4, you can actually read more Chozo lore right there, and right in front of the lore, is a charge shot. We can now charge shot and get rid of these turret eyeball things. But not blast that little hole in the ground. Again, they really section off a lot of these areas by telling you what they're made of. So once you find out what they're weak to, you can use it on all those areas. But it's kind of frustrating when you have literally the charge shot, but it's not strong enough to blast through that, you know? Alright, and after that, come into this room, do some nice platforming upwards. And you should be able to see this weird fountain room. What you want to do is move over in this direction, turn into a little morph ball slot at the end over there. And after going forward for a bit, you will make it to your second boss. And this one definitely doesn't feel like a boss, so to say, since it is just like an automatic weapon system, but even more so than the other one. But there are two important things to scan here. You want to scan the actual fire turret itself, as well as the bugs that it shoots at, or say get disturbed when it's fighting you. Because those are, like I said, those two are the only times you'll ever see this, so if you miss them, then you failed 100%. But after defeating it, we get our next awesome item, the Morph Ball Bombs. These ones are a bit weird. You can only use 3 in like a short session of them. But they act just like every other Morph Bomb. You can just plant it to blow up walls, as well as perform a little Morph Ball jump. And you can actually do a really cool trick, which I'll show you guys in a little bit. But after dealing with this Morph Ball puzzle here, where pretty much it's not even a puzzle, it's just a timing thing. Alright, and after going through that door and going through that small tunnel to the right of the metal railing, you can make your way over here and find another energy tank. Nice. You want to do some nice backtracking a little bit, and finally go back to that tree that we saw earlier and start heading up it. And at the tree, you're going to do what you did a little while ago. Just scan and look for 4 little runes here. Alright, and after reaching the top and going through the very easily navigated hallways, you make it to another boss fight. This time it's like a giant plant-like creature. And there are actually 2 things you need to scan here. First, the giant flower itself, and you also got to scan these weird tentacle things here. Those are 2 very important things you must scan for 100%, and it's quite easily missable. Alright, and this boss fight is really weird. You want to shoot it until it gets stunned, and then whatever power panel or sun panel that's lowered, you want to shoot back up, and it'll knock it over hard enough to where all the tentacles will despawn, allowing you to bomb it. And this seems like it's a little bit needlessly complicated, but still pretty cool. Just do that a few times and you should be good to go. Also, fun little fact, I found this out when I was doing a nice little replay. Apparently, a cool attention to detail to do, once he's on the ground the first time and you're rolling around him, he actually tracks your eye movement. You can see his head moving towards your line of sight, which is really cool. But with his defeat comes the purity of all the water in this area, as well as our upgrading our suit to the now super recognizable shoulder padded Varia suit. And with that, now extreme temperatures are no longer an issue for us, which is really cool. Alright, and after coming around the corner over here, we'll encounter a brand new enemy, an energy-based enemy. And what you want to do is avoid them for right now, because we can't deal with them right now. And try to avoid using charge shots in the vicinity of it, because if you do, it'll just come right towards you. Well, anyways, hop on down, and you'll see there's a brand new Chozo lure right here, as well as an elevator that leads down to the mines. Now, what you want to do is ignore the elevator for right now, because there's a fun little challenge area just on the other side of it. And what that little challenge area is a bomb challenge area, which I find is really cool. Because apparently there's a hidden technique in Metroid games that everybody might not know of. It's called the legendary double bomb jump. And how it's performed. And this puzzle demonstrates or tests you to whether or not you know it. But first, come over here and you'll see a nice little lore tidbit right here. And as you can see, each little area here, you're supposed to power on with a power bomb. But this one, you gotta do a nice little power bomb jump. And what you want to do is, you want to power bomb, and then right before it explodes, put another power bomb down, and at the peak of your jump, put down a third power bomb. And if you do it right, you'll see the legendary Devil Bound in action. Pretty cool, actually. The only thing is, this thing is only repeated, is only used twice in the entire game. Once here for this upgrade, and another time, literally really soon for another upgrade. But after that, you want to come over here, and you'll see another energy right here. Jump down into the main plaza, because we're going to collect some more items for 100% completion. And then come back into this save room, because there's a little maze right on the opposite side of it that leads to another missile upgrade. Alright, and then after that, and you'll see there's like a weird hook area here. And what you want to do is morph ball jump into this little tunnel here, and it actually gives you another missile upgrade. Really cool, really cool. And as soon as you make your way into the mines, drop on down, head over here, and take a left turn. And there you'll see a blastable door that has another safe station. Like I said, safe stations, definitely use them at every chance you get, just in case you don't face a fatal crash like I did. And you'll see there's a brand new enemy type right here that can only be destroyed by missiles. Feel free to kill them, guys. Like I said, the more enemies you kill, the more chances you will have of getting item spawns. So definitely get that out of the way. And next up, we'll be seeing these little burrows here. These guys are kind of missable, so I recommend scanning them the first time you see them. And up next, we see this really cool fire dragon here. Like I know it's kind of a bit of a Metroid staple, but it's still really cool to see these. And to the right of it is like the most annoying enemy in the game, the puffers. Just because as soon as you kill them, they just leave toxic gas as soon as you kill them, which is super annoying when they're trying to go as fast as you can. Alright, and after having forwarded a little bit, we'll finally find our very first enemy that's unique to the Morph Ball's specific form, the Tricyclops. The Triclops. But they're very dispensable. Just put a power bomb right before they capture you. And over here in the next room, you'll find a nice little Tricyclops pit. And this little pit here holds a little secret. What you want to do is immediately go behind, as soon as you drop down, go behind you. Go through the shaft in the back there so you can enter this little maze area. Go through the maze, and at the end you should be making yourself way into this weird little vault area. And there you'll find yourself a nice little missile pack. And that's another really cool thing to do for the details in this game, is that when you go over these heat vents, it actually like steams up your suit and visors, preventing you to see like around you, which is really cool. Like the environmentalism in this game and the attention to detail is so good. And after all, that would come into this nice central hub here area, where there's giant computers and a giant working crane here. What you want to do is just blast all the turrets and come up right over here. And after you make your way over here, we finally make it to our second double bomb jump challenge. And this one's actually very dangerous, because every time you make a mistake or fail it, you take some serious damage. So just in case you don't die here and have to restart a lot of progress, I would highly recommend progressing a little bit way forwards, because there's a save station immediately in the next area, which is the Pendronic Drifts. And after visiting this nice cool ice area in contrast to the lava underground, what you want to do is just head immediately forward, go to the save station there, and then with that in place, you can try out that challenge as many times as you want. And you don't even have to do it now. You'll be going through that area quite a bit within this whole run of the game, for both secrets and item collections, so feel free to try the challenge at any time. Like I said, it's pretty hard, and it's pretty unforgiving, but I like to do it now. And it's like that just because you don't have to do it once, but you have to successfully do it twice in a row. If you don't, then you have to restart it. Again, very unforgiving. Oh wait, never mind, not twice, but 3 times. But hey, I managed to do it 3 times in a row pretty fast. And we get another energy tank. And now with that, we can finally just take in the atmosphere of this Pendulum Drifts. Because I believe this is my favorite area in the whole game. I love this Ice World level here. And usually Ice Worlds suck in a lot of video games, but this one just feels so alive, so interesting. It's really awesome. Alright, and to start off here, what you want to do is go to this ice water here and blast this thing with your missile. Scan this little thing to unlock the door ahead. Go through the door and you'll see another brand new enemy. It's another electric based enemy, so we can't do anything about it yet. And we see another brand new enemy, the baby Shiba. And I love these little reptilian things. They do get kind of annoying later on, but they're so they're so goofy that I just love them. Alright, and after doing some tight platforming, you'll make your way right over here, and you'll see these ice burrows. Now, you need to scan these as soon as you can. Mainly just because enemies do cycle in and out, and these are one of the enemies that does. So if you miss this enemy here and now, then you'll probably not get another chance to do it in the whole run. So definitely scan these now. I'm going to be trying to point those out during this walkthrough as much as I can. Because some enemies you only get one chance to get them, and some areas, some things you only get one chance to scan as well. And it can be very heartbreaking where you have to replay the whole game just because you miss one little thing. Alright, and after going forward right over here, we'll end up in the Padrana Canyon here. And what you want to do is quickly turn around and you'll see another Chozo lore right against this wall. Definitely catch that. And then make your way to the end of this canyon to where we will get our next big upgrade, the Boost Ball ability. Now this is probably my favorite upgrade in the whole game, just because in the Morph Ball mode, you can now charge up power to go super fast. It definitely does feel a little bit of a remnant of the super speed back in Super Metroid and other Metroid games. But I felt like that would be super disorienting in 3D, so I guess this is like the best way they could have incorporated that mechanic. And honestly, the way they incorporated it in this game is so awesome, because they just have little half pipes all over the area they could use to boost yourself up there. It's actually really cool. And now with that little upgrade acquired, we can make our way back to the central area. We'll see Ridley fly right above us, which is important because we actually have to backtrack now. Because now the computer wants us to scan or look for areas with those half-pipe areas. And if you remember, all the way back in the opening world, there's actually a half-pipe that leads to a brand new area right over there. So we have to backtrack all the way over there. But on your way back over there, you want to go branch off into the brand new area up there. Because if you come into this room over here, you can actually make your way over here to get yourself a brand new missile pack through this little Morph Ball maze here. Again, definitely try to plan to get as many of these on your way as you can. And then you come over to this elevator to make your back all the way back to Talon's overworld. So after that little detour, we make it our way to the half pipe. And as soon as you make it up there, you'll see there's a bombable wall right here. Of course, naturally, you just want to bomb it and continue moving forward. And once you get to the main plaza area, resist the urge to jump and just follow the path above until you get to here where we can find the brand new item, the Space Jump Boots. Now these ones act a lot differently than the previous iterations, because in the previous iterations you could just infinitely jump in the air as much as you want, but in this game all it does is provide you with one extra jump, which is definitely a nerf, but it still makes it so much less disorienting. But now with a double jump, we can now enter into other restricted areas back in Pandora's Drifts. But on the way, make sure you actually go back over here and grab a missile pack that's right behind the ship in the weeds over here. Remember those weeds we scanned? Well, that's what they were hiding. And the guide I'm reading does recommend we, at this point, we go over here to start off a little bit of the quest hunting, or the artifact hunting, so might as well get that started as well too. So if you would come over here, back where we found the pirate data lore, we can come over here and activate this nifty little thing, and here we can get some nice information about what we should be looking for and what rooms we should be going to for them. And as you can see, one of the rooms that it lists is the Sun Chamber. But if we try to go back there now, so many different things are like kind of blocked off. So we'll get to it once we get like a nice supply of other upgrades. But in the meantime, let's make our way back into the Magmore Caverns. And through the caverns, we can make our way back to Padrona Drift. But before we go into the ice land over there, now that we have the double jump, we can actually do more in this monitoring station room here. We can actually double jump up to here, and then do a nice boost ball power up here to put up a little drawbridge to make us be able to make this jump to this Chozo artifact over here. Now, regrettably, I do recommend getting this power up so much later, just because of that little thing I scanned right in front of it. Because in order to destroy that thing, you actually need the power bomb upgrade first, to get everything in that room. But I suppose we can just get it now, just because it's so readily available right there. But I will have to make a mental note about that later on. But now that we're back in the drifts, we can easily make this nice little jump to get to this area over here. And we can make our way over here to the Chamber of Elders corridor sacrificial room. And what you want to do here is definitely scan these ice parasites that are just roaming around, because these are also kind of a one-time enemy that get replaced later on. So definitely scan them while you can. And after traversing the land up here, we make our way over here to where we fight a nice little mini boss arena. And we have to battle them for the next upgrade, our Wave Beam. And these guys here are just super annoying, and I don't know if it's because I'm playing on a GameCube or it's just finicky controls in general, but I feel like, because what you want to do is, because of the crystals on their back, they absorb your power shots, so you only have to use missiles in order to kill it. But because I feel like it keeps bouncing off their skin, it makes me really feel like I'm missing something. So I don't know, it feels really finicky here. And it should go down pretty easily. With that, we get our Wave Beam. And this nifty little thing shoots energy-based projectiles, so now those globs of pure electricity should be able to go down easily. And more importantly, we can now unlock these purple doors, which means we're making progress. And with the Wave Beam now equipped, we can do a quick little save here, and make our way to the other purple door located in the Padrona Drifts, as well as these ice screeds, because I don't think they actually reappear after this encounter either. So definitely scan these icicle screebats. And after going through that wave door, we should eventually come over to this weird little fountain pond area over here. And we have to do this nice little morph ball time of thing. However, there's actually a little hidden. If you go to that obviously open circle over here, and don't fuck up like I just did, you'll be rewarded with another energy tank. And with that acquired, you can actually now do the challenge properly, where all you have to do is just go into the middle platform over there, and platform your way all the way up. Don't worry, it gets so much easier once you get the next upgrade. And if you head over to the right over here, you'll find another save station. Very useful. And then with that out of the way, go through the wave door over here, and you make your way towards the end. But this is where we start getting more interesting lore, because this is where we also get introduced to the pirates that are lurking in this facility. We start off here with the Shadow Pirate. Now I like to scan this guy right away, because later on, Shadow Pirates actually become more hidden. So definitely scan them as much as we can. But now we actually get more space pirates that aren't shadow based, so definitely scan those as right away. And we have to do a little boss arena thing. This is where combat gets a little bit more tricky, because now we have to deal with so many enemies using blasters at us. But luckily, if you're good enough, you can take them all down and definitely get rid of that turret as soon as you can. And there's actually a safe station near here, which is really nice. But first, come up here and you can grab yourself a map, which shows us the whole locale of this facility. And it's pretty big, so you definitely want to try to keep track of it. Right. And after a bit of traveling, we make it over here to a force field, which we can deactivate with our scanner. And we see a whole bunch of testing tubes and weird computers. Once you eliminate all the pirate threats, definitely get a scan on all these computers. And you'll see that a lot of them have some critical pirate information on them. And if you're 100%ing it, at this point you should have 50% of your logbook filled out at this point. Which means we're halfway through the game. Even though it really doesn't feel like it. Then just head upstairs and start scanning a little bit more computers as well. And you'll see some more pirate data. As well as some interesting stuff about they've been doing around here. And this is where they start integrating doors on the ceiling and floors, which I find is really cool. You just blast it and you jump right through it. It's actually kind of cool. And if you follow that way, you make it over here to this weird observatory area. And after a quick little short fight, activate the computer terminal over there. And there we see a giant scale of the solar system. And now this gives us some very interesting stuff. Because not only do we get the whole solar system of the galaxy here, we see two very important planets on here. One of which is the planet we're on, Talon 4, but the other one is planet Zabas. And if you know from Metroid lore, planet Zabas is not only a smash stage, but is canonically one of the very first planets that Samus already visited during her missions. But as we know, by the end of Super Metroid, planet Zabas exploded. So it's so weird to still have like a hologram or something of it in the space here. So it kind of makes people question whether or not planet Zabas is still around, or if this is taking place before Super Metroid. So many questions. But all the information we get about it right now is that the planet's crust definitely just feels like it's good for a base. That's all that's written about it. But after that little thing, just climb up to the very top of this little hologram, and you should get to our next upgrade, Super Missiles. Which is different than how they used to act before. Because before, they used to be a separate item collectible, but now you can sacrifice 5 missiles to upgrade them to a super missile to do some way damage, and it actually helps open up some areas on the map. So it's kind of cool how they integrated super missiles like this in the game. And after that, come up here, you'll go into a nice little battle arena between 2 towers, and after defeating the ground alien pirates, you start seeing flying alien pirates. And these guys are just really annoying just because they have their own missiles and lasers that are so automatic. And be careful, because once you kill one of them, they try to do a nice suicide bomb on you. But once you're able to take them all out, the doors will open, and you'll want to make your way to the elevator over here and move on to the next area. And I remember this area very vividly, because this is where the area of the very last artifact Chozo that I found naturally in my very first playthrough. And I hated the way they hid it in this area. But, what you can do, it's how they chose to hit it. I had to try to find it. And unfortunately you can't get it right now because we're missing a key feature. But just so you know, this area becomes very important later on. After continuing forward, we'll make our way to another lab where we get to see what they've been experimenting on. And we see they've been experimenting on Metroids here. Which is very strange, because at this point we should have destroyed all the Metroids at this point, based on the games and events that happened back in Metroid 2. So again, the timeline and everything that's been happening around here is very interesting, and honestly, any of it could really fit anywhere. Because as we know, in Metroid 2, we went to planet SR-388 and exterminated all the Metroids there. However, we do know in Metroid Fusion, the government that we're working for decided to keep or experiment on Metroid DNA. So, and they even started cloning Metroids in order to try to control them as well. So it's really hard to say exactly where these space pirates got them at this point. It could be just a whole before the timeline kind of situation, where all the events in this game happen before Metroid 2, or it could be a whole external thing where these are just not organic Metroids anymore, and these are people trying to clone or reproduce them by scientifically instead of naturally. Again, so many interesting things to think about in this series. Well, anyway, just keep in mind there's a bunch of pirate lore in here, and one of them is hidden on this sign in particular, so make sure you don't miss that. And as you can see up here, there's also another missile upgrade in these raptors. Just turn into a morph ball and do some careful navigating to get it. And as well as an energy tank, just shoot the tank and you'll be able, with a missile, and you should be able to get it. And after all that little excursion, we'll make our way into this another laboratory. This one's in a giant cylinder formation. And before you start hopping on down at the very bottom, what you want to do is go to each level, and you'll see a computer there. What you want to do is scan each of those computers for the red mark and get rid of every single security barrier in order to get what's inside this giant tube here. And what's inside the tube, you may ask? Well, it's none other than our next awesome upgrade, the thermal visor. And now we have thermal vision, so we can now see everything. It's heat signature, which is very important because as soon as we grab it, all the lights go out and we're faced with the next challenge of our mission, the sideways stepping shadowy shadow pirates. And they're called shadow pirates now, and the name shadow pirates now actually makes more sense because they actually cloak themselves in the dark, making it so we can't even see them. But with a thermal visor, we not only get to see them, but we also get to see the path that we take, which is super nice of them. It's nice that the floor itself has a nice heat signature, so we can see the path. Does it make sense? Not really, but hey, it's a good game. It's a good game design. And as you can see in that little hallway where the ice beetles used to be, the enemies that replaced them this time are security drones. So make sure you get those ice beetles while you can, because they, like I said, enemies can replace pretty fast in this game. But now we have to backtrack our way with using the thermal visors and pretty much defeat all the enemies that we encountered before. And our main goal this time is to try to find another weapon upgrade. And where is that located, you may ask? Well, if you check your map real quick, you'll see there's one little area we haven't explored yet. And our next upgrade is going to be in that little area. But how do you get there? Well, first you go back to that room where it's connecting to. And you'll see right above it, if you scan, there's a little plate, but you can't really blast it with anything except for that newly acquired super missile that we got. And with that, we're able to come over here and come to our next boss fight. And our next boss fight is against this weird sentient rock creature known as like Thetis, or Thardis I should say. And if you read it, it says like no natural hits, we have to find its weak spot. But in order to find it, we need to turn on our thermal goggles here. And as you can see, we can now locate where the vital point is, and we can start shooting at it. And now this guy is pretty annoying on your first time playing through. As you see, he's able to freeze you, as well he rolls into a ball that's too fast for you to avoid on foot. So what you want to do is, whenever he's doing his ice attack, make sure you always jump in the air, dodge in the air with your double jump. And when you see him turn into a ball, you turn into a ball as well, and use your boost ball ability to boost yourself away. And this fight is pretty annoying, just because you have to do that so many times. And since I'm playing in hard mode, he has so much more health. So I'm just going to skip over to the end over here. But he does have some pretty cool animations for his fight. For example, he's able to blanket the whole area in snow, which kind of doesn't do much since we're still using the thermal goggles anyway. But it's still just a cool visual fight, you know. And oh yeah, it goes out with the same, you only have to scan the main big boss. Those small little rocks that he throws do not count as creatures, so just scan the main guy and you should be good to go. Yep, and after defeating him, we'll get ourselves a brand new upgrade for our Morph Ball ability. It is called the Spider Ball. Now, the Spider Ball isn't entirely new. This has appeared in one other game, and that's right, it's Metroid 2. But this one works a little bit differently, because in Metroid 2, you can just cling on to any surface you wanted. But in this game, you can only cling on to the metal railings. Which definitely does feel like this game does take place beforehand, since the technology in Samus' suit does seem a little bit weaker than the technology in later games. Such as the space jumps only giving you one additional jump instead of unlimited, and the Spider Ball only doing magnetic rails instead of to any surface. But then again, that could just be gameplay design because of a 3D environment, so it's hard to say. Anyways, after acquiring that, we make our way back into the mine caverns, and I can see in this pit over here, we have to start dealing with these stupid flying pirates everywhere now. And there's actually a little secret hidden within this area over here. Well, first off, if you use your thermal goggles here, you'll see that this thing right here needs some power, and each of these little lit up stations requires you to light something up for it. And once you do that, you start doing this little lava puzzle over here, which eventually leads you to another energy tank. So it's definitely worth to destroy those pirates and then do this puzzle. That way you can get yourself a nice full heal after both the boss fight and those guys. Alright, and after hopping across these weird mushroom guys and going to the rooms over here, you'll eventually find yourself in this area where we'll see a brand new spider track that we're now able to go through. So now we can do connecting paths to the rest of the Magmore caverns. And with that, you can make your way all the way back into the Talon overworld over here, and start making our way back over to the Chozo ruins over there. Because now that we have the new wave beam, thermal goggles, and super missiles, we can start collecting a lot more upgrades and get into our new area. And before anything else, I will admit it, I did miss a Chozo lore in the beginning. Literally right off the bat, right before you even see this door over here, you'll see the Chozo lore right above it. So careful not to miss that. And as soon as you make it to this main plaza area, you want to use this the boost ball ability here to get that missile pack in this ramp area here. Then next on our docket is this rune fountain here. Remember that fountain that was spurting water right in front of a Chozo lore? Well, now that you have the Morph Ball and the Spider Ball, you can now use that fountain to go on the railing right above you and collect another missile pack. Next thing on the list is going over to the watery hall over here, and you'll find that there's a secret path in the back way over there, as well as a little tunnel right here that you could blow up, which leads us to a new area over here, the furnace. And within the furnace are a bunch of missile packs. One that's literally right through this door here. Another one is where you can climb a little bit up with the Spider Ball. Alright, the next missile expansion is literally right up here. Now that we have the space jumps, we can make our way to the very top of this place, where if you platform using those red pillars right there, you can make your way all the way to the top here and use a Morph Ball bomb to get this next missile expansion. Alright, so the way you want to go now is if you make your way towards this little area, you'll see a Spider Ball track that has some two different difficulties you want to do. You need the Boost Ball and the Morpho Bomb. Once you do that, you can do a nice little boosted jump over here to make your way across this path, and you'll end up in this area over here, where it has some more Chozo lore for you to collect, so definitely collect those. And if you continue going left to the next room over there, through the Morph Ball tunnel, you'll end up in another half-pipe room that not only has 3 Chozo lores in it, but it also holds a lot of power-ups in here as well. First things first, get the lore. Next, you want to scan this little thing, and you'll see it can be destroyed using your super missiles, which open up this Spider Ball railing, which then allows you to go over here to activate this thing to get yourself another missile expansion over here. Again, Metroid games are just filled with little secrets and stuff like that that you can easily miss out on. And after dealing with all that little nonsense, you finally make your way over to the Elder's chamber, or the Elder's ruins, whatever. You'll face yourself a brand new enemy type, the Chozo Ghost. Now these things are very interesting because they can only be harmed using your energy beam. Which is very interesting, that these are beings of pure energy, and the only thing that can harm them is your default weapon. But before we go too far, quickly defeat him, and you'll make your way over to here, and this is where we'll find our very first missile recharge station. And what you want to do is definitely scan it for the lore, and this replenishes all your missiles that you have used up. So it's a definitely good way to make sure your maximum missile capacity that you're at right now. And right now, as you can see, I'm at 90. Alright, and after all that, you want to activate yourself into this little statue here. What you want to do is just turn into a little morph ball and have the statue throw you. And there you can see it, you make it to this area to where it activates all these 3 little panels over here. And as you can see, each of those panels requires a different weapon type, but since we only have the wave beam, it can only bring us into this area over here, which takes us over into the next room, to where there's another pool filled with a half pipe filled with water. So what you want to do is just go to the center of the pool, drain it, and then boost your ball all the way to the top up here, to where there's another save station. And on the opposite side of that is our brand new weapon, our ice beam. Now this weapon has been a Metroid staple for a really long time at this point, and for good reason too, because with one singular blast you can freeze enemies in the tracks, and even though you still technically can use them as platforms in this game, it's very unnecessary. So all it does is just freeze enemies and allows you to use a missile to quickly destroy them. But as soon as you get that and make your way back to the Chamber's Elder, you'll see that there's even more Chozo ghosts now. Seems like we're disturbing the ruins of these places so much that the ghosts of its ancestors are trying to attack us now. Well, anyway, after quickly dealing with those using super missiles, we'll just go to the missile save station, recharge all our missiles again, and go up to that panel and use our brand new ice beam ability to access the other morph ball slot. And after dealing with that, we'll make our way to grab ourselves a brand new energy tank. And since it's an energy tank, I recommend doing this as soon as you can and not doing it for later. But now that we have our brand new ice beam ability, we can finally make our way all the way back to where we got the thermal goggles and go through that ice beam door. But before we get too far into that, I do want to make our way over into the Sun Chamber, because if you remember a little while ago, we had that clue about the Chozo artifacts, and one is hidden in the Sun Chamber. If you try to go the regular route, like I said before, it is currently blocked off by a whole bunch of stems, so you have to use the back way in order to try to get in there. And once you start making your way over to the back way into the Sun Tower, I don't know if this would happen only to me, but you'll see like a Chozo ghost quickly sprint off in that direction. What you want to do is just follow it into the Sun Chamber, and you'll see it's been infested by all the Chozo ghosts. What you want to do is just clear the whole room out of it, and the artifact will reveal itself once they're all gone. Alright, and once you make your way back into the Padronic Drifts, there's one new thing you can do here in this shoreline, is that you can activate this little thing over here and grab yourself a brand new missile expansion with your new Spider Ball form. So definitely grab that if you are hankering for more missiles, as we all are. And soon, once you make your way back into this drifts, you'll get an incoming message saying something about Gravity Chamber over here. And anyone who knows anything about Metroid knows exactly what that means. So let's start making our way over there. But on your way over there, there is one more missile pack that I forgot to mention. In this little area over here, if you scan this pillar here, you'll see it can be destroyed. It's the room right before the observatory. Alright, and once you make your way back to this thermal visor room, you use the ice door here, and it'll bring you to a brand new area over here that looks kind of like a frozen ice cave waterfall kind of thing, known as the Frozen Pipes. And what you want to do once you start here is immediately drop on down to the lowest level of it and start making your way through there. Because that's the path that leads over to that gravity anomaly that we saw. And we'll find our way into the frozen cave, where we'll see a new form of Metroid, the Hunter Metroid. And that's very interesting because we haven't seen Metroids take this form in any way, shape, or form. So again, it kind of makes it feel like these are not naturally forming Metroids at all. Or it might be because of the experiments they're doing, they're mutating into something entirely different. Again, it's really hard to say about exactly the biology of Metroids, because we've seen them in their natural planet transform into different kinds of Metroid, going from like, I think it's like Alpha, Beta, Zeta, and all that stuff. Omega, I know Omega is one of them. But in this one's a entirely different form that definitely doesn't match the other previous forms. So again, it's really hard to say exactly what's going on here. Anyway, after that short little rambling, we'll eventually find our way over here into the Hunter Cave. And what you want to do is definitely destroy these pillars above you. That gives you a nice little pathway. And make your way over to the next room over there. And after that, we'll find our way into the gravity chamber. Now this chamber holds our very next power-up. In this case, it's not just a power-up, but a whole suit. Our mostly beloved gravity suit. And if most Metroid fans would know, this suit is actually appeared before already in Super Metroid as well as Metroid Fusion, and most people believe this to be the best suit in the game, considering it allows you to travel through water at no reduction cost. But this game actually holds a nice surprise I won't get to until much later. Anyway, after acquiring the new gravity suit, we can now fully explore every area in this game. And with that, we're allowed to go back all the way to our ship, the landing grounds, because there's one area over there that we can now access because of the gravity suit. So let's start making our way over there. And if you make your way over here, past the waterfall over here, and go through this unopened door, and you'll see there's a whole bunch of morph ball areas over here. And eventually we'll make ourselves into a giant pool-like area over here. And there's a crate underground with a strange blue liquid on here. And it actually gives us to our very first hints and glimpses of a very important material in this game. Something called phazon. Get ready to hear that word so many more times in this playthrough. Anyway, after dealing with all that stuff, there's actually a missile within that lake right above the ledge. And now that we have the gravity suit, we can actually just jump up right into it. And after making it to the other side of that lake, we'll see some very critically injured space pirates over there. Some even having some brain damage. And after eliminating them, because no stone left unturned, we can actually make our way into something called the crash landing site. Very interesting. And after traveling a few rooms, you actually get a very sense of familiarity. And after traveling deeper, you realize that this whole place was the very first area in the game that we were at. Yep, this is the crash landing site of that space station that exploded up in the very beginning of this game. It actually crash landed on this planet, not too far off from to where our ship landed. And since this is a crash landing site, all the power has been knocked off. So in order to restore power to doors, we have to use our thermal goggles to see power generators within the walls, and use our wave beam to power them up. And after doing that a few times throughout this facility, well, after attaining quite a few interesting things, such as this energy tank that just so happens to be locked behind a charge being shot, as well as a brand new missile expansion that's hidden behind that door that was like bursting at the seams in the very beginning of the game. We'll head our way deeper within this facility, and I just love how there's just floating dead space pirates in many different areas. It really sets the atmosphere like this is like a giant catastrophe that happened, Eventually we'll make our way over into this morph ball puzzle, to where we had to do some nice underwater bomb jumps 3 in a row to be precise, to make our way into another energy tank that was hidden here. So there are 2 hidden energy tanks in the crashdown facility. And after navigating that facility, we'll eventually make our way into the Great Tree Hall, which is connected right back into Talon's overworld. And after making our way like near the top, we'll eventually find a room that has some very intense phazon over a stone bridge, and we'll eventually find our elevator right down into the phazon mines. Now here is where the true mining facility starts happening. As we enter, we see a giant crane, as well as a lot of security axes around here. But before you deal with any of that, head immediately over to the left side and you'll see a nice little save station. You know, because we've gone through so many different sites and interesting things, you definitely need to save. Alright, and after saving, make your way over here and scan these turrets in particular, because these ones aren't just regular turrets, these are mega turrets. And they do kind of separate things, which is kind of weird. Well, anyway, after dealing with those, just scan the 2 scanners right in front of it to deactivate the force field that they were protecting, and start making your way down into the mines. Well, actually, before then, there is some missile things you can actually do here. You can either do it now or later. Since I'm here, I might as well do it now. What you want to do is start climbing up the crane, deal with all the space pirates around it, and you'll eventually see the controls for the crane, but it needs more power, so you have to check the surrounding area for more energy points. And once that's reactivated, you're able to turn the crank, and you'll see a brand new missile expansion right there. And as you start to make your way through the mines, you'll start encountering some brand new space pirate types. First of which is the wave troopers. Now these guys are very unique in a sense they can only be harmed by one kind of weapon. And naturally, since this is a Nintendo game, it's color coordinating at least, which is nice. These guys can only be hurt by the wave beam. And in my opinion, the wave beam is like literally one of the worst weapons to harm people, especially when you get its secret missile form, making wave troopers literally one of my least favorite enemies to ever fight in this game. But after moving forward a little bit, and after getting bombarded by so many space pirates, we eventually find our way into this nice, weird experimental room, where we see a giant space pirate frozen in a tank, but it does make mention that the tank can be harmed. It is made of, bendelism, and we have been seeing that word pop up around, so once we find what it's weak to, we can actually free that pirate. Maybe that would be important later on. Wink, wink. Anyway, for the time being, just make your way up, destroy any space pirates in your way, scan the brand new pirate type, the Power Trooper, and actually this one is only weak to the beam shot. And you'll see there's like a giant cannon up above, as well as the walls around you being weak to it. So what you want to do is just use your morph ball to spin the cannon around, use the computer to activate it, and you can actually start blowing up all the walls here. Now, there's only 2 walls you want to blow up, the one right in front of you, and the wall directly on the left side over there, because that was the one that has a missile pack for you. And after dealing with all that nonsense, you can make your way deeper into the mines, and here you'll find like a cool little elevator shaft thing, with a nice morpho ball puzzle, to where every spin on it rotates a Sparta ball scale, and which allows you to get to different floors. Now, in order to get to the second level, what you want to do is just match it up with the blue lines to make it get up there. And for the next one, you want to match up the red in order to get to the next floor up. And once you do that stuff, you can make your way through the red floor's ice beam door and continue making progress. And eventually, you'll make your way down deeper into the mines. But before you get too deep, you'll start seeing like a weird shaft up here that has like some weird green expulsion. If you turn on your thermal goggles, you'll see that there's a nice little power thing right next to it. Hit that, and which will cause the thing to explode, revealing another missile pack. And after making your way down, you'll find a brand new enemy type, the Elite Pirate. Now these ones are super annoying because they actually start absorbing energy from you, and they have like a weird shockwave beam and cannon if you go too far. So what you want to do is stay relatively close, wait for him to do the shockwave attack. While he's doing that, start spamming super missiles at him, and he'll eventually go down pretty fast. But these guys are a finite resource, so definitely scan them as soon as you can. And a little bit after that, you'll start seeing some ice pirates, and these ones are really easy because you can just freeze them and then shoot a missile at them. It gets super easy. But before you get too far, you gotta make sure you scan all the pirate data here, because these are pretty interesting ones, to say the least. And you make your way over to the next room. And after reading some of the information on here, it seems like they're trying to do experiments to try to replicate Samus Aran. Seems like they're trying to not only copy a lot of her techniques, but trying to figure out the source of it as well, or not only trying to find the source of it, but trying to recreate it for themselves as well. Again, it's super interesting stuff. Maybe that will play later on in the game. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Alright, after reading all that stuff, you'll make your way into this weird ventilation place, and this place will start filling up with gas. Luckily, if you're fast enough, you can just make it over here before you start taking any damage. And these is what I call like a reference to the other Metroids, because this is technically an infinite spawning room where enemies will just spawn infinitely, but if you're careful, you can actually start getting more health and missiles if you're low on it. So definitely take this time to replenish your stuff if you're low. And then when you're ready, make your way into the next room. Alright, and here we get some more Space Pirate lore, and we also get like a nice little thing where we actually learn about their little nickname for Samus in this game, is that the Space Pirates refer to her as the Hunter, which I find really interesting. And like how they have their own little lingo about what they actually call Samus here. And after a little bit, we make our way over here to the Central Dynamo. And this is where you want to be very careful. There's actually an invisible drone here, where you can't lock onto it, but it is there, so you want to just spam your super missiles until you start hitting it. And after its defeat, it unlocks this little path over here. Now, you actually want to do this before anything else, because after completing the maze, it actually gives you Samus's most interesting power-up, the Power Bombs. Now these, compared to its other bombs, are super massive bombs that have limited stock that you can use. But with these, you can destroy huge debris that are laying in our paths. And now that we have that, we can quickly do a nice little, we can clear the debris in front of the station and give ourselves a nice little save. Alright, and after that, we can make our way over to this next area over here, where you'll see 4 turrets here. I always opt to destroy these turrets just because they're so annoying. And I know you can take the little path over there and try to deactivate them, but they can still shoot you and all that, so I'd rather just kill them off. And here we'll see a nice little scene where we see a space pirate blocking off Metroids from entering this scientific room. Now what you want to do is destroy these space pirates first, and then then let open the Metroid's fusion so you can destroy the Metroids. And now that we have the Ice Beam, the Metroids are super easy to destroy. Shoot them once, and missile, the classic Metroid staple. And with that, there's nothing more we can do in this room, other than some interesting little lore tidbits here about what's going on. And it seems like the Space Pirates were trying to infuse Metroids with this Phazon stuff. And we can see that the Phazon has some different results on the wildlife here, resulting in these mushrooms to be 400% their size. But as of right now, there's nothing more we can do. So all we can do is just backtrack to another area and try to find something to help us progress. And we need actually 2 things in order to progress. First things first, we need to go all the way back to Magmoor Caverns. But on the way there, you'll start running into more powerful creatures now, such as a repeated boss of this elite pirate. But so, if you haven't scanned them already, just definitely scan them now, and start making your way back upwards. But fun fact, now that we have super bombs, we can actually clear off this debris over here, and actually get the map of this whole facility over here. And we can see that there's still so much more to the facility. left. And with the super bombs, we can actually go back to this gas-ish area over here, super bomb this little area right here to get rid of that platform, and actually reactivate the fans to get rid of all that poisonous gas, and reveal the next energy tank. And after doing that, you can actually now use the super bombs in this little area over here to give yourself a nice fast travel all the way back to the beginning area. And once you make it back to this spider ball puzzle room over here, what you want to do is actually super bomb this debris up here to actually let you activate the yellow turret up there. And now you have to do the whole thing again, but with the yellow outline this time. And this should be the last time you ever have to mess with this puzzle. And once you make it to the top here, we get one of our final upgrades, the grapple beam. And people at the Metroid franchise will know that the grapple beam in Super Metroid actually shot out of Samus's suit, or arm cannon I should say, and allowed her to swing herself back and forth. However, in this game, the grapple beam seems to be coming out of her left hand instead of the actual arm cannon this time. So it does imply that this is like a different version of the grapple beam that is different from the one in Super Metroid. Again, so many subtle little details like that gets you to think about stuff like that. Well, anyways, after acquiring it, we can swing across and make our way back to the entrance of the mines. And now that we're here, we can make our way back up to the caverns. But before we get too deep into the caverns to pick up our next weapon, let's actually go up here and see this really weird spider track here. What you want to do is climb up it, and you'll make your way through this ice beam door, and super bomb this rock over here. And with that, you can make your way over here to where you find our next visor, the X-ray visor. Now this turns everything into a really cool black and white script where you can actually see through walls that are breakable. And as you can see, these walls hide a special little secret, and the secret is a nice little life grove area. And once you're here, if you want to try to get out, you have to like climb a little bit of areas, but if you try to escape, the Chozo people will come out. But before you even try to escape, there is one artifact hidden here, and it's underwater. You want to bomb this little area here, thus revealing it. And with that, you get the next piece of the artifact Chozos. But now that we have the X-ray visors, fights with the Chozo ghosts actually are so much simpler, because now they don't disappear from you anymore. You can actually see where they are, which is like a really cool thing they added for the X-ray visor, is that it no longer just reveals secrets, but you can actually trace enemies that disappear. Alright, and before you get too far, you see like there's a nice little half pipe here. There's actually one items expansion in there, and it's another missile expansion, but what you want to do is half pipe your way over to the top half of that rock, and you'll see there's just a bombable rock hole you can just slide into. After doing that, go to the nearest space station that's in that weird frog room over there. And if you do, you'll see there's a little hole in the back. Use that hole because it actually gives you a nice little shortcut all the way back to the Talon Overworld, as well as getting you a new missile expansion that's hidden within the venomous weeds over here. Alright, and after saving to your ship, now that we have so many other upgrades, let's actually try to collect as many missile expansions and new interesting things as we can before we get to the next area. First things first, let's head over to the ruins over here. Next, you see there's a bunch of rooms we haven't been able to access yet, that now we can. To start off with, let's head our way over to the watery halls over here, because there's actually something in the way back of the halls that leads to a secret underground tunnel, and now that we have the gravity suit, we can grab another missile expansion here. After that, let's make our way over to this lava-filled room over here that was too hot to enter before, and now that we have the grapple beam, we can now grapple our way across here. But before you get too far, if you use X-ray visor, you can see there's actually something behind this wall over here. If you power bomb it, we can actually get a power bomb expansion. Now there are only 4 of these in these games, but they are essential for 100% of the game. Plus, bombing this actually gives us some more Chozo lore. And this one, I believe, should be the last one. And after going through that passageway over here, we can make our way over and we can start seeing more Chozo ghosts as well as a half pipe area over here. Just quickly get rid of the ghosts and you can start doing this Morphobot puzzle to grant yourself some more goodies, in which this case is just another energy tank. And after successfully doing all of that, you'll make your way back into the main plaza where we'll find another missile expansion right after these grapple beams. And funny enough, there's actually one more missile expansion right here, and it's within this dead tree here. Yep, just blow it up with a super bomb, and you can grab yourself another missile pack. And after doing all of that, you can finally make your way to the last room that's shown on the map over here. What you want to do is go back to the very first area where we got the Morph Ball transformation at the very start. Defeat the newly acquired Chozo Ghost here. And you'll see this bombable hole over here. Quickly just bomb that real quick to grab yourself another missile expansion. Then groove on this half pipe over here. And you'll see there's two ways to go. I recommend going left first to get the missile expansion over there. And then going right to proceed into the next room. And after doing that, you'll make your way into this really cool tower area over here. Where technically climbing up the tower is completely optional. But it does provide you with a really cool next upgrade. What you want to do is when you start climbing a tower, you'll see these beams are not that sturdy. So what you want to do is start blasting them with either super missiles or just regular missiles. I recommend super missiles just so that you can one-shot it. And a layer of the tower will collapse, which allows you to platform to the next area. And then you start seeing these weird puffball enemies again. Scan these ones because these ones are new. But after repeating that progress a few times, we make it all the way up to acquire the Wave Buster. Now this is actually a really cool upgrade because it allows you, because it's pretty much like the super missile for a power beam, but it's like this for the wave beam, where at the cost of 10 missiles plus any additional missile for every second afterwards, it does heavy damage with the wave beam, and it actually looks super cool. Like, it is really cool, but it's kind of, like, unnecessary for every enemy up to this point. However, they are super useful against boss enemies, which I will later show you. And after attaining the Wave Buster, just drop directly below the tower, and you'll see there's a nice little path back there. Follow that path, and it'll lead you to the next artifact over there. And after acquiring the artifact, we can make our way back into Talon's overworld, head back to that great tree over there, and start climbing up it even more. And if you turn on your X-ray visors, you can actually see that there's some invisible platforms here. Just start jumping on those platforms and it'll eventually lead you to another missile. Can't tell you how annoying it was when I first found that out in the very first time I played this game, that there are just invisible platforms in places. So it kind of really incentivizes you to literally check every area with the X-ray visor, which can be annoying, but it's also super interesting to discover as well. Alright, and after traveling through the caverns a little bit, you'll eventually make your way into this little area right here. And all fans of Super Metroid will know that if you see like a place like this, definitely super bomb it. And with that, you can actually get yourself a nice little Easter egg weapon, which is the Ice Blaster, which is the upgraded Super Ice Blaster form that at a cost of 10 missiles fires a huge shot of ice to freeze enemies and sometimes nearby enemies as well. It kind of doesn't work that well in clusters as it might expect, so it's just really good just to get some extra damage on enemies. Alright, and after traveling the caverns for a bit, we're eventually going to make our way over here to the, I believe it's called the Geological Cord, where we'll see this one little grapple beam over here. And using that grapple beam, we can start making our way up this tower and using our Morph Ball to spin these platforms outwards. If you did it all right, then eventually we'll see a nice little cutscene to where the roof of the entire place will expand, revealing even more spider track ball tracks. Now these tracks are actually really fun. Like It's really cool. There's like a whole roof section over here that relies only on the spider ball tracks. There's even areas that allow you to freely roam the spider ball tracks. It definitely feels like a bit of a demo or a trial area on the spider tracks and how it works, but it's still really fun to navigate. And at the end of it, we get our final weapon, the plasma beam. Now, anyone who's a fan of Metroid would know that the plasma beam has been like an essential part of Samus's kit, but in this game, it's more like a magma launcher because it fires like really powerful fire shots. And it's our strongest weapon yet. I mean, hell, it's really fun to go throughout the entire lanes, facing all the other enemies and just watching them get one shot disintegrated by the plasma beam. But now that we have this brand new weapon, literally every secret in this game is now opened up to us. So now we can go back to many different areas and gather their weapon expansions there. Especially within the Fandora Drifts. And this houses the most amount of secrets out of any other place. Now this is where you have a choice, because you can either go to Fandora Drifts and collect every single other upgrade there, such as the missile tank in that frozen ice caverns near an elevator, as well as the missile tanks encased in ice, or you can head to the right side of the magma caverns, go through that one room we haven't gone through, and blow up this area with another super bomb to get back into another area of the Phazon Mines. I choose to go to the Phazon Mines right now, and with that we can make our way back into the mines to deal with the boss there. Alright, and after making your way all the way back to where we saw that Metroid force field was activated, we can now finally start traveling across the platforms that are hidden from us with our X-ray visors. And since this area is so dark, you'll probably want to leave the X-ray visors and or the thermal goggles on so you can see where all the traps are in this area. And luckily, like I said, since there's so many mushrooms around, they actually illuminate a nice little path for you. But before you go anywhere out of this room yet, there's actually one big secret hidden in this room. And I can't tell you how annoying it was because it's in a dark room, so you can't really see anything, and your current visor or scanning visor doesn't really help here. But in one of the walls next to these double spider tracks right here, this wall is actually can be destroyed by a super bomb. And guess what? The wall behind it also can. So what you want to do is have two super bombs to blast those guys out, and you'll reveal a hidden spider track path. And once you follow it and see these X-ray visor up to this missile pack here. And luckily, if you're a platformer god, you can actually platform your way all the way back here without going through the pain of all that again. And after going that, we can finally go up to sub-level 3 of the mines. And this is where we can really see the Phazon start taking its turn, to where so many mushrooms, so many areas are just covered in this stuff. But before getting too far in, you'll see like this missile expansion underneath this mushroom. Since it's like literally right there, I recommend just grabbing that missile pack at the cost of some damage, because at worst you'll only take like half a bar of health. And after traveling through that area, you'll eventually find yourself in a nice corridor filled with the Phazon stuff, and you'll see at one point you get a choice of whether to continue going through the Phazon or end it right there. You have to end it right there. No matter how much life or energy tanks you have at this point, you will not make it through it, and you won't make it back there alive, forcing you to restart. So just go off the halfway point and continue on into the next room over here. Because right there's another missile station to refuel on all the missiles you have, which we will need for the upcoming room over there. But before we get too far in, if you drop down, you'll see like a circle of mushrooms down there. And what you want to do is blow up the center of it to reveal another missile pack. And after a little bit, you'll find yourself the very final of the space pirate troopers, the plasma troopers, which naturally color coding means you have to only kill them with the plasma beam. Luckily, since it is just a powerful beam, you can easily dispatch of these guys at this point. And after jumping that giant quarry, we'll eventually find ourselves to the last lab that hosts the final amount of pirate lore. So what you want to do is quickly scan that, and we should be able to save in the room directly across from there. But before then, let's actually blow up this test tube here to acquire our final missile pack here. And let's do a quick save. Alright, and you'll see a locked door here. You just have to melt the ice that's directly above it with your plasma beam. And with that, we can see one of the final bosses here, the Omega Pirate. And if you're careful enough, you can actually scan them before the boss fight even starts, so there's no danger during the fight. Now this one is actually super annoying, just because of hitbox shenanigans. Because even though you're locked on to a vital part of him, sometimes it can just literally just bounce right off him. So definitely try to aim pretty good here. But what you want to do is just blow up the 4 vital points of him. He goes into a staggering formation. And when it's that, he calls in troopers. Try to deal with these troopers as fast as you can. I recommend using, if there's one of them that's clearly shooting you and another one that's clearly up close, get rid of the one who shoots first and leave the other one alone. Because what you want to do is go into your X-ray visors and scan for the Omega Pirate who's healing invisibly. And once you find him, just blast him with super missiles until he eventually goes down. And you just have to repeat that over and over until he eventually goes down. And after the battle, the giant Omega Pirate actually just like falls on you, attempting to crush you. But then he literally just melts into Phazon, which then our suit is able to absorb, creating the awesome and legendary awesome black-red suit combo, the Phazon suit. And with this nifty little suit, any blue Phazon areas, such as these areas over here, no longer hurt us. Which means now we can finally get the final artifact that's hidden in this mine area with ease now. So let's go do that. Remember that area where I told you in that mine area where if you go right you will die and will have to restart? Well, now that area is no problem. And we collect our next artifact. Alright, and after collecting that, let's make our way back to the boss arena room, because now we can actually collect some more things in there. And I recommend getting that now, just so you don't have to do some major backtracking through this area. And I can't just help but admire how good this suit looks. I mean, this black and red with a hint of like brownish. Oh, it's really cool. This is without a doubt my favorite suit in all the Metroid. And it even subverts your expectations, because we usually expected only 2 suits. But now they bring us the legendary 3rd suit. Anyways, after making it back to the boss arena, we go through this little elevator over here, and we're rewarded by another energy tank. And after making it through the hallway, you'll end up right back in this little corridor here. And this is where you must observe everything that you have. Because at this point, now it's all open world and free roam. To where if you want to collect all the weapon expansions and all the power upgrades as you want, you can. Or you can just head straight over to the final boss arena. Me, of course. I'm gonna 100% everything and show you where it is. So now that we have everything around here, let's actually go over here real quick, because there's actually a hidden platform in this little area right here, over off into the right area. And it grants us another metal expansion. Also, I just realized when I said head straight to the final boss, that's a bit of a fib. What I meant was collecting all the artifacts so that way you can make your way to the final boss. Because, like I said, at this point it's just open world free roam, where you have to go and find all the necessary things in order to go into the final boss area. After collecting that missile expansion, what you want to do is now try to leave the mines. I like taking the route that leads you through this mine security system, because there is a couple of things you can do in here. First things first is that there is a bombable wall that can only be accessed by a super bomb. And once you blast that, you'll see some controls. And once you scan those controls, it deactivates a force field around a plasma door. And what's lying behind there? Well, none other than our plasma upgrade itself, the flamethrower. Now this is actually a really cool one, because it lets Samus continuously shoot out bursts of fire through her arm cannon. Now this is very interesting, because this is the very first time that we see like actual fire being shot out of her arm cannon. And as we know in Smash Brothers, she's been able to do that for a really long time. So could this be the upgrade that allows her to actually shoot fire out of her? Is that whole fire thing in Smash Brothers just called plasma attack? And again, interesting questions. And if this game actually does take place right after Metroid, but before Super Metroid and Metroid 2, then could this suit and the other ones be the ones that are seen in Smash Brothers? Again, so many things to ponder as I go into this security area over here, blast this area with Super Bomb, and grab another missile tank. Anyways, after that little rambling, we make our way out of the mines and we travel all the way back into Talon's Overgrowth. And now, like I said, we're just on a collection of collecting every single upgrade as well as finding every single artifact. Now, if you actually want hints on where to find these artifacts, you can actually just go back to the temple over there, and with the artifacts you already collected at this point, you can actually get more information on the ones you're missing, as well as some hints on where the other ones are hidden. And where some of these are hidden are actually pretty well hidden, I will say. And one of them even requires you to fight a brand new boss as well. And after that, you want to make your way back to this Chamber of Elders area, because there is one more of those special slots that we need to put in, and it's for the Plasma Saw. And we can see that the entire statue would move this time, and if you go down it, you can actually make your way over here to the next Chozo artifact. So it pays to remember all the places you've been to and what you've done, as well as remembering what you haven't done. And this is the hardest half-pipe challenge, just because it's at like a really weird angle, and you need to boost at the perfect timing. Anyway, after trying it so many times, you can finally make your way up to here, and you'll make your way to the ceiling area over here, to where if you just follow it, it'll lead you to your next mission expansion. And with that, everything should be collected in the Chozo Ruins. So let's make our way back into Talon's Overworld, because there's actually one more mission expansion hidden in the Root Cave. Well, not exactly hidden, all you have to do is just climb up to the very top. And after that, we can make our way back downwards and head right back into Magmore's Caverns. If you actually went over to the Chozo statues, you would know there's another artifact hidden within the Magmore Caverns, and it's over at the Twin Lake of Fire, and it's located in Lava Lake, I should say. And if you turn on your X-ray visor here, you'll see that this pillar is not actually a real pillar. It actually houses the next Chozo artifacts. And with that collected, we can now make our way over to the Tricyclops pit. And here there are some more invisible platforms that lead you up to this pillar over here, which you can blast away. And this place houses the most amount of secrets that are only accessed by the plasma beam. The very first of which is located obviously in the shorelines, in that frozen ice area right over here behind this pillar that we showed you quite a while back. And now we can start melting the ice all over the place to grab all those expansions, as well as some more interesting stuff, such as over here, to where you'll find yourself a nice spider ball track up here. If you make your way up there, you'll find yourself a brand new missile expansion. And just around the corner from here, you'll find another ice wall and blast it away to grab yourself some more missiles. After that, make your way over here, and if you do some type of platforming up above, you'll eventually find this little ice floor on the roof of this building. Melt it away to give yourself some more power bombs. The next of which, I should say, is the artifact that's hidden here. All you have to do is make your way up to the boss arena up here, and the room right before it, there's a nice little fountain area. If you scan it, it'll say something about like how this used to be like water flowing through here. If you just melt that ice right there, and it'll reveal the Chozo artifact right underneath it. And after that, you'll want to make your way over to the boss arena of that rock golem guy. Because then within this arena, you'll see there's some more grapple hooks areas up here. Drop down. There's a room right there going through there, and you'll find yourself a nice missile expansion. And if you scan the surrounding areas, it tells you that this was the testing room for the talisman here, showing that this boss here was not naturally occurring. It was an experiment, and they were trying to control it. And with that out of the way, grab your way back through that door over there, and you can make your way over to the opposite side where we'll go into the frozen pikes. because in the room in there, next there, we'll see our next upgrade, the energy tank that was encased in ice. And with that, that should be every single energy tank in the game. So, give yourself a nice little round of applause for all 14 of your health bars. Alright, and after you collected that, make your way back over to the Twin Towers over here. And what you want to do now is, well, first get rid of all these pirates, because they're super annoying. And on the leftmost tower, what you want to do is go double jump into this little bunker above it. And you'll see some boxes near a window. And you'll see some a window with some glass. Well, it's not really glass, it's ice that's frozen over. Melt that with your plasma beam, and then you'll be able to see a tower off in the distance. What you want to do is scan it, and you'll see there's a weak point actually to it. And just shoot a missile at it, and that tower will come crumbling down. Thus revealing another Chozo artifact. And I cannot tell you how long it took me to figure that out, because I knew the Chozo artifact had to be in this because it's the only place that had a control tower on it. But at the same time, it was just so frustrating that that was the solution, was something in the background that you had to look out for. I was so mad at that. Anyway, with that out of the way, let's get some more upgrades. If you head over to in the direction where you found your gravity suit, there are a couple of more upgrades we need to get over there. You'll eventually find your way into the Frost Cave. And if you remember before, there was a missile tank hidden in the frozen ice below you. And the way to get it is kind of annoying. You actually have to wait till you get the grapple beam power up, because as far as I can tell, there's no good angle for you to actually shoot the stalactite that's right above it in order to try to get it. So you have to literally wait till you get the grapple hook, then grab it onto this enemy right here to make it to those other lights on the other platforms right over there. And once you do, you'll have a good enough angle to see the weak point you need to shoot to grab the missile tank below. And after all that, there should be only one more missile pack you're missing, because there's a grand total of 250 missiles you can have in this game. And that last one is located literally in the chamber with the gravity suit. But it's kind of annoying because you need both the because you need the grapple hook in order to get it, and it's so out of the way that there's literally never really a good point to get it until you get these artifacts. But before we go up there, let's go into this room over here, and if you climb to the very, very top and grapple with this enemy over here, there's a little slot here, and you'll see that it has a power bomb expansion. Nice. And just to the right of it, if you use your X-ray goggles, you'll see there's a hidden door here. And all you have to do is just power bomb it with the new acquired power bomb upgrade, and you got yourself another Chozo artifact. Now, with that out of the way, let's start making our way to the gravity chamber. And to get to this missile upgrade, all you have to do is just shoot these suspicious looking ice icicles on the roof, revealing a grapple hook beam. And then all you have to do is just grapple on over to it. Pretty simple. Thus, all the missiles have been collected in the game. And 3 out of 4 power bombs are all collected, and every energy tank is collected. You should feel really, really powerful now. But before we head over to our ship, there's actually one more thing we need to do, and it's located in the Phazon mines. We still need to get one last Chozo artifact, and this one is actually pretty well hidden. It is hidden within an experiment. And this kind of really symbolizes the space pirates' need to try to weaponize everything they come across, because they managed to turn one of the artifacts, combine it with the Phazon experiment, and combined it with one of their elite soldiers to create this monstrosity, the Phazon Pirate. And now this one acts no differently than all the other ones that we face, but at this point, now we have the flamethrower, so now we get to slowly burn them alive. Yes. Why do I ask? Mainly just because I really want to show off the flamethrower. It's such a cool weapon. And just like I said, not many instances where you can actually use it. This is pretty much like the only boss fight where it's actually useful. And after all of that, we finally managed to make a full circle of the entire map, thus collecting everything we can and being as prepared as we can for the final battle. Now, before any of that, what you really want to do is definitely make a big save right now, because you really don't want to lose any of the progress we just made. And I like making my big save right here in our gunship. Now, let's quickly take a look at everything that we got, just to make sure we get everything we can. Because at this point, you should be able to get every single creature except for 5 creatures at this point. So if you count more than 5, then you're definitely missing one. You should have all the Chozo lore, you should have all the secondary items, you should have every visor, every suit, and every entry in the research and artifact slot as well. And what's this? I'm missing something in research. Ah, fuck.
In the reaches of space, below the surface of planet Zebes, Samus Aran faced the space pirates. She destroyed their operation, wiped out the parasites called Metroids, and defeated Mother Brain. But the pirates were far from finished.
Okay, now everything should be accounted for. Literally, every research, every artifact, every creature except for 5, every Chozo lore, and every pirate data. If you do not have these, then you're definitely missing something. As well as 250 missiles, 8 power bombs. As you can see, I only have 7, that's because of that one I missed. But I'm making the save right here, right now, just because I want to do some testing about the endings later on. But with that all in mind, we are finally able to go face the final bosses over here. And like I said, I like making my big save right here, just because it's right in front of the next boss fight, which is Meta Ridley. And I would like to save some progress right beforehand. That way I don't have to do the whole game again for when we eventually have to do Ridley's lore later on. But before we go defeat him, now that I have played the whole game again at this point, let's actually go back and grab that power bomb that I missed intentionally, so that I have everything going into the final boss fight. And I also noticed this too, the 100% on the title select screen, it's based on all the upgrades you can get within the facility. For your suit, I should say. So pretty much, if you're missing one thing from your suit, that's what the 100% is bringing from. It's not keeping track of your scan logs, which is a part of a different 100%. And honestly, this boss fight is both really cool and really annoying. Maybe it's just because I'm on hard mode and I deal so much less damage, but it just feels like he's still really cool. The music banger and all that. But it just really feels like it drags on for way too long. Again, it might be just because I'm playing on hard mode, but right now it gets pretty annoying pretty fast. But my god, it's still really fucking cool how badass he is. Both design-wise, music-wise, attack-wise, he has everything going for him. And I also find it really cool, visual-wise, that at a certain point, we hit Meta Ridley so much that we actually burn up his wings. Because his wings are no longer, I would say, alive, or what's a good word to say for it? What is it? Organic. Yeah, they're no longer organic. They're all synthetic, which means that at a certain point we can just destroy them, which we do, forcing Meta Ridley to face us hand-to-hand combat. Which is, he is definitely bigger strength than us for that. But luckily, this is a Nintendo game, so there's an obvious weak point to when that happens. And I love at the end of the fight, it's not only do Meta Ridley, we destroy Meta Ridley, but all the ghosts of the Chozo decide to also join in and blast into oblivion. It's really cool. Now, with that out of the way, we can now continue on to the final boss. And like I said, I made a hard save right before this fight. That way I can make another playthrough of this, or I could face Meta Ridley again, but easier, or not easier. Face Meta Ridley again, but much later. But I highly recommend you save right after that, because you want to go into this next areas with as much health as you can. And at this point, we are missing 4 things to scan for the creature log. The four things are these little creatures right here. Yes, they do count for the log for whatever stupid reason. These Metroids, luckily, you don't have to catalog the split form as separate entities, which is really nice. And this horrific creature right here. I tell you guys, Nintendo, they love their creepy ass faces here. I mean, look at that thing. And then it just kind of splits over and turns into a giant spider. My god. And after scanning it, we realize this is Metroid Prime. This is the culmination of both the prime example of Metroids and the Phazon experiments to their fullest potential. And holy shit, is it really fucking hard. Luckily, it is color coordinated on what you're supposed to do or how you're supposed to damage it. Whatever color the outlining of the shell is what weapon you're supposed to use to destroy it. However, this thing is armed to the teeth with so many bombs, dangerous lasers, as well as just having really big limbs. It's just so impenetrable. It really feels like a boss among bosses here. And luckily, this is where all those power-up missile launchers that we got for each of the weapons actually comes in handy. Because now, they all get to their fullest use up until this boss for everything. Literally everything except for the flamethrower. The flamethrower is kind of useless for this one. But everything else gets brought up to a great degree. Especially the weight beam. The weight beam gets the biggest buff from all of this, since now it's just an auto lockdown that deals so much damage. It can literally, it's literally the best one. Whenever I would save all the missiles just for the weight beam targeting. It's just so cool. Now you're probably saying to yourself, well, this is definitely cool, but where's the very last scan that we need for this? Well, once this beast goes down, then comes out the true final boss of this whole playthrough. Metroid Prime, but in its exoskeleton form, or should I say it's like god form. Because this thing not only does it look super cool and creepy at the same time, but he has the ability to actually become invisible in many different ways, in fact, once he disappears from your main view, you actually have to switch visors in order to see him again. And this is where our new suit, very special ability gets added in as well. Because when he creates these pools of pure Phazon, we're able to stand in it, and not only that, it actually powers up our weapons, giving us hyper mode, which is the only way to deal damage to this beast. But be very cautious, because eventually he starts spawning in Metroids to kind of assist them in this fight. Really making you think, man, this is really what the pinnacle of all Metroid combat really looks like. But not only just regular Metroids, you eventually start spawning in Metroid Hunters, as well as those brand new Phazon Infused Metroids. And to deal with the Phazon Infused ones, I recommend just getting to the pool as fast as you can while avoiding them, and just shoot all of them with the hyper mode. That way you don't have to deal with them multiplying. And oh, it's so close, and no! Fuck! Oh yeah, and I forgot to add, as soon as you scan this form, and if you scan everything else in the game actually tells you, it gives you a nice 100% completion thing for the logbook, which helps you, which unlocks the next art gallery. Yep, to unlock all the galleries, all I have to do is beat normal mode, beat hard mode, 100% the logbook, and 100% all the items in the game. So there's a grand total of 4 galleries to collect, and they're all just pretty much just play the game and completionist bonus. Bam! After dealing the final blow, we see the Metroid Prime phase out and turn into a really weird amoeba thing. But with its many tentacles, it actually grabs us and starts trying to absorb us. And what we see is something very interesting. our newly acquired Phazon suit gets ripped right out of us. And this is where I felt like it should have been like another Metroid escape sequence, but because we went so far deep into giant holes, I can understand why they didn't want to do that. But with that, we make it back to the overworld. We see the whole ruin start blowing up, so we call in our gunship, and since we got more than 50% of the items, Samus takes off her helmet, revealing to us her face, as well as a little bit of sadness seeing that her own homeworld is being destroyed. What do I mean by that? Well, go check out the Chozo lore that I'm about to read out in a little bit. But first, let's check out the 100% completion rewards. We see Samus escape from Talon 4, and we see her victory pose right there. And if you've done everything correctly, she'll do her victory pose with her helmet off, a nice 100% completion right at the bottom, and a brand new cutscene where we just see a pool of Phazon just like corroding itself at the very bottom here. We see a hand emerge, the very same hand our old Phazon suit had, only this time this one has an eyeball coming out of its hand, and thus sets up the whole main antagonist of the Metroid Prime series. My god, what a game. Hey guys, welcome over to the Chozo and the Space Pirate lore section of this video. And funny enough, before we actually get into their log information in the game, there's actually some hidden lore located in the Metroid Prime manual. So let's quickly look over that one so we can get the actual full story of everything that's happened in this game. Let's start off with the Chozo lore. The Chozo, over millennia, the bird-like race of creatures, made incredible technological and scientific leaps, traveling at will through space. They built many marvels across the universe, technological wonders of unfathomable complexity, and cities unmatched in beauty. They share their knowledge freely with more primitive cultures, and learn to respect and care for life in all its forms. Even as their society reached its technological peak, however, the Chozo felt their spirituality wane. Their culture was steeped in prophecy and lore, and they foresaw the decline of the Chozo, considering the rise of evil. Horrified by the increasing violence in the universe, they began to withdraw into themselves, foregoing technology in favor of simplicity. Talon 4 was one of the several refugees they built, a colony, bereft of technology, built of natural materials and wedded into the land and its creatures. The years passed, and in time a great meteor crashed into Talon 4, sending a massive spum of matter into the atmosphere and impregnating the land with a cancerous element known as Phazon. This element immediately sank into the earth and water, poisoning life wherever it bloomed. Most plants and animals died, while others mutated into hideous forms. The Chozo called upon all of their knowledge and technology to control the power of the Phazon, but their efforts were doomed to fail. All they could do was build a temple over the crater at the impact site, separate the Phazon core, and seal it away. Believing that someday a savior will return to the planet, the Chozo left for an unknown destination, leaving behind nothing but engraved accounts of their time on Talon 4. Very interesting. Now let's see what the space pirates were doing at this time. The space pirates were interstellar nomads, technologically advanced in both space travel and weaponry. When they plundered the Metroid population that had been discovered by the Galactic Federation on SR-388, they recognized in them massive military and energy resource potential. They immediately invaded the nearby planet of Zebas, wiping out all life, including most of the indigenous Chozo, and building a massive network of research facilities below the planet's surface. Deep down the surface of Zebas, the space pirates researched Metroids for many years, even as a young girl orphaned by their raid on their neighboring planet K-2L was growing up among the Chozo. Trained as a warrior and infused with Chozo blood, Samus Aran donned a Chozo-made power suit and cut a swath through the space pirates' operation, destroying everything in her path, including the gargantuan mainstays of the space pirate army, Ridley and Craig. She eventually made it to the core of their base, destroyed all the Metroids she saw, and seemingly blew up the mother brain. But the space pirates were far from finished. They immediately split their survivors into two main camps. One headed to Zabos to begin rebuilding their ravaged facility and resurrecting Mother Brain. Ridley and Craig, the second, set out, resurrecting Mother Brain, Ridley, and Craig. The second set out in search of a planet with powerful energy resources. They didn't search far before they discovered Talon 4, which was emanating huge pulses of energy from the phazon contained beneath the Chozo Temple. Entranced by the massive potential of the strange mutagen, they immediately moved in, retrofitting their laboratories, transporters, and life support systems into the Chozo ruins. As the space pirates mined the phazon and experimented with it, they found that its capacity to mutate was unlike anything they'd ever seen, and they promptly started combining it with indigenous life forms. They refined their operation, powering their machinery with thermal-powered energy sunk into the molten depths of Talon 4. They drove deep mine shafts and mined more and more phazon, shipping it into their two main labs in the Fendron Drifts, where sub-zero temperatures made specimen containment safer. Research leaped forward. By harnessing phazon's power, they were able to create untold horrors that soon patrol the dark caverns below Talon 4's crust. The space pirates also transported many species in their orbiting ship for zero-G phazon experiments, unaware that Samus Aran had finally tracked their ship to its low orbit. As they continued with their unnatural experiments, Samus sped toward Talon 4, preparing to wipe them all out once and for all. Alright, cool, so this is all the pre-game stuff that we know about for both the Chozo and the Space Pirates. So let's go read their log to see exactly what they've been up to. Alright, let's start off with the Chozo lore, and the first one to begin with is Infestation. A second plague has come upon the land, dousing the last flickering hopes of our race, drawn by the very force we Chozo hoped to contain. A host of marauding creatures descended from space and invaded our temple, the Cradle. They try in vain to destroy it, but its power remains beyond them for now. They possess some of the 12 artifacts we call the Cipher, yet do not comprehend their function. Ignorant creatures, they are blinded by delusions of harnessing the great poison for their own designs. They walk about as masters of the planet, assimilating the ruins of our sanctuary into their experiments. We can but watch and wait for our doom. Binding. The congregation of the artifacts that hold the great poison at bay still holds strong. Fearful of the potential within the artifact temple, the invaders known as space pirates tried to destroy it, only to fail in every attempt. We scattered the artifacts across the planet for their protection, and only a few have fallen into invader hands. Failing to understand them, they now seek to unmake them. Again they fail. They are not right to fear these things. Great power sleeps inside them. Prophecy calls for their reunion. Come the day that the unholy worm is met by the great defender. We can only hope the artifacts are not destroyed by the invader, for then all will be lost. So we do what we can do to preserve the artifacts, and to guide the newborn to them. Time wanes with our souls, yet hope remains. The Cradle. The cries of a dying land pulled us from our dreaming state, and now we Chozo walk as ghosts while the great poison sinks into the trees and waters. Devouring all life, some creatures survive, but their forms grow as twisted and evil as the force that fell from the sky. The heart of the planet will succumb soon, and so will we. Even in our ghostly states, already many Chozo have faded and passed into the unknown. The great poison is unlike anything we have glimpsed in this or any dimension. It eats relentlessly, worming out life wherever it blooms, and corrupting what it cannot kill. It will be our undoing. Our last hope lies in the Cradle, the temple we hope might contain this abomination. It is almost complete, hovering over the impact site, the dark heart of the spreading evil. If we can finish before the last of our kind drifts into madness or death, there's a chance for this world. If we fail, we are doomed with it. The beginnings. Our sanctuary grows by the day. We Chozo know much of technology, but we have chosen to leave it behind on this journey. Our home here on the Talon 4 will be a place of simplicity. Structure hewn from the stone, bridges woven with branches, hallways caressed by pure waters. We built around the ancient and noble trees, drawing from their strength and giving them our own in return. All that is wild will flow around us here. Our race will be just one more group of creatures in the knit of nature. It is our hope that such a state will bring with it great wisdom or greater understanding of the nature of the universe. Once our city here is complete, we will peer inward and discover the truth. Cipher. None know if our temple, the Cradle, will prove powerful enough to contain this evil forever. How can we Chozo hope for it to remain intact when that which it guards rides in darkness, growing always stronger? The fate of this world rests with the gathering of the artifacts we call the Cipher, but even it is not all-powerful. It is strong, yes, an enchanted whole made of 12 links. Still, it is fit in its research, and we who guard it are slowly succumbing. When our vigilance crumbles away into madness, the Cipher will be exposed and the fate of the Talon 4 will be beyond our influence. The Worm. The prophecies tell of the coming of the worm, born from parasites. Nurtured in the poison womb, the worm grows, devouring from within, until the world begins to rot. The words of the seers have come to pass, for there, in the depths of the world, the ravenous worm lurks and feeds from the stars it came, blinding Talon with its great poison. We can but watch as the worm grows, watch and wait, for the prophecies also speak of a great defender, the one who delivers the world from evil. The final days draw near. Is the newborn the defender of which the seer spoke? We shall do all that we can do to aid her, for she bears our legacy, and she bears the ancient armor and weapons of our people. Fountain. At the highest point of our city lies the fountain, a wellspring of pure water that flows throughout our civilization. It is the jewel of the Chozo, the life giver, and yet its water speaks of a clouded future. As we come to understand the paths of time and space more clearly, we have begun to glimpse rough tatters of past and future, glittering behind reality like soft lights behind a curtain. We have seen the fountain in these glimpses, pouring darkness instead of water, and we cannot guess what the visions mean. Exodus. We Chozo are departing now, after so many years in peaceful seclusion here on Talon 4. When we came, this place was a refuge for our spirits, a civilization built from native materials, bereft of trappings of our technology. We were linked to the land here, kindred to the planets and animals, far away from the machines we had become so dependent on, and so we leave it now, pristine, a testament to the mortal forms we no longer need. We have drawn the veins of time and space aside, and are withdrawing beyond the illusion, but we will never forget this, the most sacred of our homes, and we will remain ever watchful. Hatchling's Shell. The hatchling walks among us. Are these dreams, memories, foretellings? Time and reality swirl together like estuary waters? And we Chozo know not what to believe. She appears as ghost-like as the Chozo, but at times the mists clear, and we see her wounded eyes, and remember the child we found so long ago. What has she become, this newborn? Clad in Chozo armor, wielding weapons our hands once held, does she dream of the Chozo as we once were? Does she long for her parents, lost to the same creatures that even now defile our sacred home? Does she still live? The hatchling. As we struggle with the great poison, something stirs at the edges of our vision. It is the hatchling Samus. We feel her, across the void, as she hunts the corrupted. Will our fates again be one? As our pride shatters, will prophecy become real? When all strength wanes from the Chozo, will it be the hatchling who fulfills our legacy? True sight eludes us, for the poison gnaws at all our vision, leaving seers blind and filled with despair. Truth's blessing may come too late. The meteor strike. We have returned to Talon 4, born here against our will by a great cataclysm from the research of space. A meteor came, casting a dark shadow of debris over the land with the violence of its impact. Though we perceive this from beyond space and time, it was but curiosity, a brief flare in the infinite march of the universe. But the meteor brought with it a corruption. A great poison burst forth into the land, clawing at life with such violence that we were ripped from our peaceful state and find ourselves wandering as shadows of the mortals' forms we left behind, searching for why we are here. Catane. The world of living things feels strange to us, we who have existed so long on the edges of time and space. It is clear now that we Chozo can never return to our dimension, not while the great poison reaches ever further into the planet. It is so powerful, this creeping evil, that our wills are crumbling and our minds begin to fail. And so, before it is too late, we now make our last stand. We have begun to build a temple to contain this darkness. At its heart, we will place a cipher, a mysterious lock powered by 12 artifacts, and filled with much power as we Chozos can harness in our ethereal states. Even when we are done, it may be too late. The Turned. Many Chozo have gone beyond now, and this is a mercy. Those of us who remain suffer in dimensional flux, drifting helplessly across time and space, guided by unseen and inexorable currents. The Chozo who cling to sanity fight the tide, but our minds are weakening. Soon we will be like the Turned, Chozo who have been utterly corrupted by the great poison. The Turned still hold to their Chozo forms, but their minds are black with foul intentions, gone in their respect for life. They honor only destruction and seek to disrupt the artifacts holding the great poison at bay. All life taunts them, and they do not rest. Before long, they will be all that remain of the Chozo here. Hope. More and more of our tormented minds turn to the newborn. As the world continues to shift into brutal, disconnected images, she remains inarguably real. A fearless figure delivering deeper into this blighted world. Unmindful of the terrors that await her, was she this way before? When we Chozo found her, a fledgling orphan on a savage planet, did a warrior's pulse already beat in her veins, filling her with righteous fury? Our hopes lie with her. We leave these messages for her, that she may find our artifacts and deliver the world from its evils. Raised we may be, but our reach is still long indeed. We shall fight the invaders and the poison they would master until the end. Sanctuary. As we have done for millennia, we Chozo work constantly on our sanctuary. The statues are of our sentinels. Blind but ever watchful they are, and they always been. Representatives for our most precious secrets and strongest powers. The crafting of each is a long and sacred process, performed only by those Chozo who have lifetimes of experience. In such times, we have left these relics on planets across the solar systems. Some are merely reminders, silent emblems of the Chozo that served as icons of peace in lands that know only war. Others wield subtle strength, exerting their influence in ways beyond the understanding of mortal creatures. Still, others are guardians of our secret ways, and these can be as terrible as they are beautiful. Those who respect and honor these relics will know the friendship of the Chozo. Those who deface and destroy them will know our wrath, unfettered and raw, newborn. The power of our temple has been enough to halt the spread of the poison of Talon 4, but that which remains thrives and grows, more concentrated gnawing on itself in the dark passage beneath the planet's surface. Whether it can ever be truly destroyed is not for our eyes to see, but there is something else. We Chozo drifting tumbling through space and time as the great poison eats away at our sanity. We wake in dreams, as the veil of lucency descends, as past and future blend and shuffle. One image appears and flickers throughout the landscape, wrath-like. It is the hatchling, the newborn walking the path of the corruption, a lone figure shining in the toxic shadows. She comes dressed for war, and her wrath is terrible. Do our eyes look backwards seeing the hatchling as she once was? Or does she approach even now, arriving in our race's last hour? A savior clothed in machines crafted long ago by Chozo hands. Poisonous clouds drift across our vision. Thus ends the Chozo lore. And wow, this reveals so much already, that the newborn, aka Samus Aran, was orphaned on a neighboring planet, and the Chozo that were visiting that planet found her and raised her as their own, and gave her not only Chozo blood, but also the technology of the suit already. And it seems like a little bit after she left, or maybe the Chozo had always been like eternally part of it. It's really hard to say, because it seems like these guys were already at godlike levels of just sleeping in dimensional planes, and just when the meteor strike, it's just pulled them out of that peaceful mind state. Again, it's really interesting, and I love how they actually explain the Chozo statues in other games, because it just shows that they were made to be symbols of peace in the midst of war, and those who know of it knows that they can hold great powers to aid them, and the ones who don't will start to feel the wrath, aka Samus, coming in to destroy them. Again, this is really, really cool stuff. Alright, let's see what the space pirates were experimenting on now. Metroid Prime. Test subject ZD, hereafter referred to as Metroid Prime, was recently discovered in a cavern by mining crews. It quickly dispatched the miners, but was eventually contained by security units and drones. Once contained, we were able to begin studies upon Metroid Prime. The results have been astonishing. It is genetically similar to Metroids, albeit on a highly evolved level. It displays a limitless capacity for phazon infusion and shows no phazon-based degeneration whatsoever. It continues to grow in size. While it has manifested some psychotic behavior, the cold fields we use to pacify remain effective. Authorization for advanced studies on the Metroid Prime have been approved. Mining status. Mining operations have begun near the crater where phazon appears to be most concentrated. Daily phazon yields have increased 44%, and our mining system becomes more streamlined as personnel and equipment flows increase. Several incidents of phazon-induced madness have been reported, prompting augmented life support regulations in the deeper chambers. Symptoms include loss of equilibrium, erratic respiration, muscle spasms, and in most extreme cases, hallucinations. A timeline reassessment for the refinery operation is recommended, as the material proves more unstable than initial analysis indicated. Artifact Site. Field team reports are on an age structure of an alien design built on the surface of Talon 4. Studies show this structure projects a containment field. This field bars access to a prime source of energy within a deep crater. Science team believes the field is powered by a number of strange Chozo artifacts. We have found some of these relics, and studies on them have begun, as this field could hinder future energy production operations on Talon 4. We must dismantle it as soon as possible. If this means the destruction of the Chozo artifacts, it will be done. Special Forces. As we continue to observe the development of Project Helix's elite pirates, it becomes increasingly obvious that these warriors will usher in a new era of space pirate dominance. They are incredibly resistant to damage, and their ability to transport and wield so many weapons at once makes them the ideal mainstays of our ground forces. Though they are not as quick as typical pirates, it makes little difference with a platoon of elite pirates and the vanguard of an army of normal and flying pirates. We have a near indestructible backbone that should turn the tide of any engagement. Metroid Forces. Studies of Metroid biology continue, though within limited progress. It seems likely we will be much more successful using these Metroids for our means rather than trying to reproduce their powers. If they could be adequately tamed, we would have no need of a proper understanding of their metabolism. A small force of disciplined Metroids could wipe out entire armies, and once we find a way to shield them from cold containment weapons, they will be invincible. Furthermore, if we could then harvest the energy they consumed, we would have a near limitless source of power at our disposal. Chozo studies. Results are in from field studies on an extinct biofarm group called Chozo. We believe that Talon 4 was once a stronghold in a great Chozo empire, brought low by the meteor strike. Planetary devastation brought an end to the Chozo, yet remnant of their society remain. We are studying these relics in an attempt to harness their power. What is of no use to us, we destroy. In time, we shall have all we need from their dead race, and we shall wipe this planet clean of their ugly ruins. The dead should serve the living, not hinder them. The fall of Zebas. Zebas has fallen. All ground personnel are presumed dead, either killed by the hunter, clad in iron, or in the subsequent destruction of the underground facilities. Our research frigate Orpheon, Sirius and Vol Paragam were in orbit at 0 hour and managed to retreat. Frigate Orpheon is now docked at Vortex Outpost. Orpheon's cargo appears to have 100% survival rate. Metroids are healthy, but on restricted feeding schedules due to uncertain supply status. We are ready to begin research on the Metroids and other prompting life forms. Security staffing remains at Code Blue. No signs of pursuit from the hunter. Prime mutations. Metroid Prime continues to feed and grow ever larger in the Impact Crater's caves. Its hunger knows no bounds, and it has begun to manifest unusual mutations since its breach. These include armor plated on its epidermis and mechanical outgrowths that generate defense screens. These screens render it invulnerable to most weapon systems, but a flaw in the mutation leads to increased vulnerability to certain weapons. It compensates for this by shifting the screens quickly. The latest development concerns security units of greatly. They feel it's a matter of time before a prime corrupts this deflect and render itself invulnerable to all weaponry. Containment would be nigh impossible if this were to occur. Security breaches. Most terraforming and retrofitting of security checkpoints on Talon 4 is complete, but we continue to research the alarming epidemic of breaching by local creatures. Door records show no unauthorized entries, so we must presume the creatures are either slipping in undetected during daily personnel moves, or else finding their way in through subterranean tunnels. We have found many small breaches of this latter, sort and plug them whenever we can, but it's unlikely that we will ever achieve full extermination with our current timetable. Phazon analysis. We have codified the newfound energy source as Phazon, a VDEX mutation, which we have very little reliable data. Indications point to a meteor of unknown origin, impacting approximately 20 years ago, expelling Phazon into this environment. This material appears to possess lifelike characteristics, mutating organic lifeforms strong enough to withstand its poison. These mutations are promising, with abrupt evolutionary leaps appearing in single-generation reproduction. Plans to establish a full science team on Talon 4 are being finalized. Omega Pirate. Elite Pirate of Selenium's proximity for Phazon has enabled our research team to infuse it far beyond our safety restrictions, and the results have been extremely encouraging. Its consistent Phazon diet has increased its mass exponentially, but it has retained all mental facilities and shows dexterity with all elite weaponry, including plasma incendiary launchers and the chameleon manta issued for cloaking purposes. Elite Pirate Obsidian exhibits miraculous healing abilities. When injured, it seeks out Phazon deposit and coats itself in the substance, which it instantly mends the creature's wounds. The subject, which we codenamed Omega Pirate based on these developments, shows potential to be our new standard for our armies. Our only concern at this point is its potential overdependence on Phazon. Contact. Scans of spiral sectors detected a massive entry spike emanating from a wandering class planet identified as Talon 4. Scout recognition was immediately dispatched to the center of the spike, a landmass at heading mark 400802. Returning with planetary samples and atmospheric imaging, analysis shows the energy source to be an unstable radioactive material of enormous potential. We are unable to form an accurate risk assessment at this time. We are unlikely to find an energy source this powerful again. Analysis will continue, but currently Talon 4 appears to be a viable secondary headquarters. The Chozo Ghosts. There have been numerous incidents involving spectral entities at Chozo ruin sites. Several personnel have been assaulted by these Chozo Ghosts. Few have survived. Survivors speak of swift attacks from nowhere, brief sightings of the enemy, then nothing, only to be followed by another attack. Science team believes these attacks are in response to our efforts to recover Chozo relics and artifacts. Somehow, these entities are able to interact with the physical world. It appears they wish to keep their artifacts to themselves. We will make them pay for such arrogance, for even ghosts can be destroyed. The Prime Breach. Subject Metroid Prime's breach has been contained. Reports indicate that it sensed a large batch of raw phazon in the lab from within its status tank, and broke through the glass, using previously unsuspected strength. Besides consuming all of the phazon, Metroid Prime assimilated several weapons and defense systems from the fallen security units. It has suffered no ill effects from said assimilation. Indeed, it began to use its newly acquired weapons against us. Once we had pacified it, we were unable to remove the assimilated gear without threat to Metroid Prime. The gear is now an integral part of its body. Command is intrigued by its newfound ability, and has ordered further study to commence at once. The parasite larva. Our initial test exposing Talon 4's indigenous parasites to phazon appeared to be successful. Increases in strength, size, and aggressiveness are common in all test subjects, as well as unforeseen evolutions like additional poison sacs within the abdomen and the appearance of a second ring of mandibles in several subjects. These creatures were chosen because of their resilience. It appears possible that given enough exposure to phazon, they may one day be able to survive on any planet we transport them to. Our methods will have to be refined. We currently have a 100% extinction rate after the 4th infusion period, and most survivors of the 3rd infusion stage are so violent and uncontrollable that they have to be euthanized. Even still, we remain hopeful that further experimentation will result in success. Meta Ridley. The reconstruction of Geoform 187, codenamed Ridley, was recently completed. After his defeat on Zebas, Command ordered a number of meta-generative improvements for him. Though aggressive, we're able to implement these changes in a cycle. The metamorphosis was painful, but quite successful in the end. Early tests indicate a drastic increase in strength, mobility, and offensive capability. Cybernetic modules have armor platings have been added as well. We believe our creation, now known as Meta Ridley, will become the mainstay of our security force, a job he will certainly relish. Phazon Program. Phazon mining is underway. Several garrisons have been established, and terraforming of the Chozo ruins is underway. Security systems are operational, and science teams continue to make progress in their biotech research. The Fendra drifts have proven to be an optimal location for research. Headquarters and soon will be joined by a fully operational combat base in Starport. The command's predictions are half true. We shall rise to dominance in this sector within a deca cycle. Truly, these are glorious times. The Metroid Morphology. Metroid dissection continues to provide more questions than answers. Our research teams have isolated the energy conduits that run from the invasive twin Malabides to the injury core in its creatures. Quadruplet nucleus. But the manner in which a Metroid actually extracts the life force from its prey remains an utter mystery. The victim does not lose blood or any other vital fluids, and yet the Metroid extracts energy. Identifying this energy is our central problem. It takes no physical form, yet without it the victim dies. We will continue to research this matter, as the isolation of this life-giving essence could be the key to our ascendance. The Chozo artifacts. We are particularly interested in the number of curious Chozo artifacts we have been able to recover from a number of religious sites on Talon 4. These relics resonate with power, and yet we are unable to harness them in any way. Science team is attempting to fuse them together with a phazon, believing that a link might exist between them. We know that these artifacts are linked to the Chozo temple that blocks full access to the impact crater. We have yet to crack this enigma. However, Command grows impatient regarding this matter. Results must be produced soon. the Phazon infusion. Confidence is high regarding Phazon applications. We know enough about Phazon now to begin combining it with space pirate DNA. The codename for this venture will be Project Helix. Preliminary studies indicate that Phazon infusion could produce radical new pirate genomes. Malevolent mutation levels are high in current test subjects. Phazon madness is a concern, but refinements in this infusion process should reduce or neutralize the odds of mental degeneration. The Metroid studies. Initial transfer of the Metroids to Talon 4 research facilities have been completed. 3 were terminated in an insight at the landing site, but the others were pacified and transported safely. Initial Phazon infusion testing is underway. We are eager to observe the effects of Phazon on Metroids, especially the ability to absorb and process the energy given off by Phazon sources. Early research suggests a considerable growth in power and size. Whether the creatures stay stable thereafter remains to be seen. The Hunter. Security Command issues an all-points alert after the fall of Zabius. The alert concerns bioform Samus Aran, also known as the Hunter. Subject is a female hominid and is heavily armed and extremely dangerous. Subject uses a powered armor suit of unknown design in battle, along with a number of potent beams and concussive weapons. All combat units are instructed to terminate Aran on sight, preferably in a fashion that will allow salvage of her powered armor suit and weapons. A considerable bounty will go to a unit who delivers Aran to command. Dead or alive, it matters not. Elite Pirates. Initial Project Helix experiments with space pirate embryos were disastrous. The Phazon-infused process degenerated brain tissue, even as it augmented muscle mass. None of what we have termed elite pirates lived to maturity. The few that survived their influence suffered severe psychotic breakdowns, as juveniles killing anything with their zone of perception. Research team Seclear made a research breakthrough in which parasite studies with a Phazon strain codenamed Vertigo were highly successful. Since we have fused Vertigo Phazon with a space pirate DNA with great success, the latest batch of elite pirates have reached maturity successfully and ready for flood testing and training. The Glacial Waste. Research outpost Glacier 1 in the Fendron Drifts region of Talon Forest Mountains is operating at 85% capacity. Sub-zero temperatures have made the Metroid sluggish and easy to control, even those well into Phazon infusion cycles. Cold containment stasis tanks are sufficient for the juveniles, but some of the larger Metroids have been moved to quarantine caves for safety purposes. Security doors remain an issue as malfunction due to ice occur every day. Large predators in the wastes are also a concern, as they contain to kill personnel and breach secure areas. Unfortunately, it has become clear that our containment teams cannot neutralize all of them without a vast increase in mutations in soldiers. Hunter weapons. Science team is attempting to reverse engineer Samus Aran's arsenal based off of data acquired from her assaults on our forces. Progress is slow but steady. Command would dearly enjoy turning Aran's weapons against her. We believe we can implement beam weapon prototypes in 3 cycles. Aran's power suits technology remains a mystery, especially the curious morph ball function. All attempts to duplicate it will end in disaster. 4 test subjects were horribly broken and twisted when they engaged our morph ball prototypes. Science teams wisely decided to move on afterwards. Fascinating stuff. Alright, so it seems like in the pirates' eyes, this place that they discovered had a huge amount of energy, and that's what drew them into this planet in the first place. After eliminating all the Chozo that remained, they began making bases on the Phazon they discovered, and infusing it with not only the wildlife, but with their own DNA as well, yielding various results. And then they soon discovered Metroid Prime deep in the services, and they had a plan to contain it for a while, but with its continuous breaches and its influence on invading the bases of the pirates, it seems it was the pirates is the ones that provided the Metroid Prime with all its hard shell and weaponry that it has. Very interesting. And it seems from this very last report, that they are very curious. I'm trying to recreate Samus's weapons, but not knowing how they work. The most that they've gotten at this point is just being able to absorb the beam attacks that they show up. But it seems like any other kind of test or copying any other weapons have gone in failure, especially with the morph ball, because you need to be super flexible in order for that to work. It seems everyone who tried it at this point had broken spines and stuff like that. It's very interesting. God, I love this lore stuff right here, man. It's so good. Well, that ends that little wrap up. Now let's go check out the gallery.